extra introduce yourself because you already introduced us many times. Yeah. So okay, then say a little bit.
Hi everybody, my name is Nicole. I'm a junior at Redonview High School and I'm a part of the swim and water polo team. Outside of school, I really love to cook, bake, and open water swim. And I've been involved in Ocean Fever for a little over a year and recently became a mentor. And this year in Ocean Fever, I really hope to uplift others, spread awareness about mental health and ocean water safety, and uplift everyone to have a voice.
My name is Alex, and you guys already know me. Alright, we're proud to introduce Teri Jones. So, Teri grew up in the South Bay her entire life, 54 years in the same house in Hermosa Beach. She works in the telecom industry and has been for 47 years, working with television and film studios, helping them bring live events into your homes. You guys watch the Super Bowl? Yeah. I don't know about the Chiefs, but it's alright. Her passions outside of work are number one, volunteering and dog rescue to save as many homeless pups as you can.
How many of you guys brought blankets? Good job. You must have some. Thank you so much.
Next is dabbling in the sport of triathlon. And the triathlon came out, the triathlon passion came out in a series of events over time. So since Teri was never really an athlete, it started by volunteering with the City of Los Angeles Marathon back in 1986. She continued with the race for 20 years, and her first introduction to anything mentionable was running a marathon in 1999 at the age of 45 to support AIDS Project Los Angeles, honoring a friend's brother that succumbed to the disease. Teri will participate in another 3 marathons supporting the same cause, raising close to $50,000.
From there, she took up cycling to raise awareness for juvenile arthritis, raising money for the Arthritis Foundation. Teri found a love for cycling. Between 2003 and 2011, she participated 7 times in AF's annual ride from San Francisco to Los Angeles, 525 miles in 8 days. Having so many people donate tens of thousands of dollars to both efforts really boosted her confidence. She says she's still not a great swimmer, but she managed to get it done. Teri participated in a few Olympic distance triathlons starting in 2010. From there, she did an Ironman 70.3 race. Many people encouraged her to move up to the full Ironman distance. In 2014, at the age of 16, Teri would cross the finish line of her first Ironman. To date, she has completed approximately 15 Ironman 70.3 races and 4 full Ironman races. More rewarding than that, in the last 10 years, she has fostered and placed approximately 500 dogs who are at risk in our local shelters.
For these athletes are like so impressive compared to mine. I'm like, I had to talk me off the ledge. They're so elevated, or I'm out of their league or whatever. I just can't do this. But no, I am so inspired by all of you, and especially you youth. I wasn't so fortunate to have somebody to mentor me, role models in my life. And I could have easily become somebody that went down the wrong path. And I don't know how I chose the path I did, but it did by, well, I'll start with not being an athlete. I was the kid in school. I spent a lot of times at recess by myself because when the team captains would line up to choose the people on their teams, nobody wanted me. I was always the last person standing. And so I never really knew sports. I never took up sports. I wasn't exposed to anything. How I started volunteering, I'm just not really sure. I think it was trying to find something to fill my time. And I've done a number of volunteer opportunities. Everything from I was so well known on Skid Row and helping at Union Rescue Mission that I was allowed to go in their kitchen and help them cook. And, so just dabbling in lots of different volunteer things. And with my, and I laugh about I developing a passion for cycling. I remember, if any of you are cyclists at all, I remembered walking into my very first, to a bike shop, gonna buy my first bike in 2003. And I walked in and I was looking at, that's a really pretty color, and, you know, that's a nice looking bike, and then look at the price tag and it's like, what? They didn't really spend that on bikes. And so I remember telling the gentleman, it was in June, and I said, I just signed up to ride from San Francisco to Los Angeles down Highway 1, and so I just need a bike to get me through that. It's in September. So I had like 3 months to train, and I ended up getting a very base, baseline sort of $700 aluminum bike, and that was with pedals and all the other stuff that you needed for it. And that's where I did that ride and met so many amazing people, and I was very humbled by the children that suffer from arthritis. I had no clue. And from there, I also was a camp counselor for a camp with children with arthritis, various forms of arthritis, and those kids could run circles around me. They were so inspirational. And yeah, the whole triathlon thing, like I said, it went from running the marathons. Okay, people are going to quit throwing money at me because I've already proven that I can run marathons. What can I do next? Because I wanted to keep doing something to help people. And so I saw a pamphlet, do you think you know the face of arthritis? And you open it up and it was a bunch of children. And I had no clue. And that was back in 2003. So, I mean, I just recently, well, not recently, 20 years, but discovered that children get some very debilitating forms of arthritis, and they go undiagnosed for a very long time because there's just very few pediatric rheumatologists around to diagnose them correctly. So anyway, did that ride, and it was amazing. I did go out and spend a little bit more than $700 on my next bike to ride the following year, and I quickly discovered how easily it is to own more than one bike. I thought, what? One more? And yeah, I got a whole room dedicated to bikes. But and there was one year that I didn't, and this is again because I'm a mediocre athlete at best. And my coach, if he were here right now, he would be giving me a talking to. I just let so many things get in the way of my training, and I never go out to set any land speed records. It's just not ever going to happen. A lot of what I do when I'm racing is really supporting people struggling. And Rami and I talked about this a little bit yesterday, is that my favorite part of the Ironman is the marathon, because I can do what I do best, and that's talk. And I sing to people. If I see somebody struggling, they want to quit, I'll talk to them. I ask them, what brought you here? Why are you doing this? Let's go back there. Let's think about it. And I will, seriously, if I saw the finish line and I could win a race, if it meant winning the race or helping somebody that was faltering, guess where I err. So, it really became a lot about that. And I didn't write any notes, and I probably should have, so I don't skip all over the place. I'm kind of just speaking from my heart. But one of the years that I wasn't able to do, it's just like now my life is sort of dedicated and devoted to mentoring, being a role model, motivating or inspiring people to dig deep and believe in themselves, because I never had anybody, believe in me until actually I met my coach, and my coach is ridiculous. I interviewed him and said, look, I don't have to run fast, so don't think you're going to get me to do hill work and fartleks and all this other stuff, because I'm not doing it. I'm perfectly happy running 12-minute miles, and I wear a Walkman, and I listen to music, and blah, blah, blah. Well, all of that changed. But anyway, one of the years that I didn't do the Arthritis Foundation ride, I had injured my shoulder, and I was going to have surgery. And so I thought to myself, I'm going to be so depressed this entire week, knowing that everybody is out there doing what I raised money for, and I really wanted to do. What else can I do? That was in 2005 during Hurricane Katrina, and we all saw the images and the loss and the devastation. And Rita was coming on Katrina's heels, and I said, I need to do something. So I was able to reach out to the Red Cross and went and spent 8 hours on a Saturday taking a crash course in mass care, shelter operations, and disaster services, and it made me deployable to the hurricane region. And so the next day I was at the Army surplus store buying galoshes and those yellow green suit things, you know, and I was all suited up because I was flying in when Rita was going to hit landfall. And I spent 2 weeks deployed there, and it was the most gratifying thing that I ever did. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to have shoulder surgery anyway, so I can't hurt it anymore, so I might as well go and do this thing. So, I did that. I spent 4.5 years volunteering on the National Suicide Prevention Hotline, and said, put me at the day and time where you have the highest lethality calls, because I want to be able to make a difference and save lives. So I did it every Saturday night for 4.5 years from 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. Oh my God. Kind of devoting myself to just whatever I can do to help in the community. But I just want to say, it just seems like I have so many things I want to say. But
say that, we are good.
No. Sitting here, I am so, what you do is amazing.
We don't do it.
No, it's just, yeah, but you started it, right? And then you have this tremendous following of amazing people. And I was gonna say, you just, mentors, mentees, friends, family members, brothers, sisters, cousins, whatever, what you're doing to be here and supporting your kids, your family members, whatever, whether it's in Ocean Fever or wherever. It is basically, you're altering their course. You are showing them and you're providing them the motivation and the support that they need to do the amazing things that they're doing. To see the youth standing here talking about mentoring and doing the things that they're doing because they want to teach other people and help other people. I was not expecting this. I had no idea. This is so awe-inspiring and just wonderful. So thank you to all of you for what you've done. And whoever brought blankets for the shelter dogs, thank you, because you have no idea how badly they're needed, the blankets and the towels. And yes, if anybody ever needs to adopt a dog, wants to become a foster, talk to me about fostering. We all have our hands tied right now because nobody is fostering and the shelters are overwhelmed, so we can save so many lives together. But so I think that's, one thing I will close with, because we did talk about this, sorry. I am struggling. We all have our struggles, but I'm gonna make it just like you. You motivated me and I'm going to make it. Almost 18 months to the day, I was hit by a car 3 weeks before I was supposed to go to my 5th Ironman. I was in the top shape of my life. I was ready to roll. I had done a 75-mile ride. I was by Scotty's down in Hermosa, less than a mile from home, and an Uber driver hit me. And he clearly wasn't paying attention. And I remember the first words out of my mouth were, "Oh my God, my bike." And I looked over at it in pieces. I mean, the chain was someplace and this today, it was like, and as you all know, during COVID, everything shut down. And so it was a big deal to be going and doing that race. And I knew if my bike was destroyed that I was not going to be able to replace it because no bike manufacturers were manufacturing bikes. And I was supposed to not only do Ironman Chattanooga in 3 weeks, but I was going to be competing in the Ironman World Championships on May 7th. And that was huge for me because I'm just not all that to be in the company of the people doing that race. But it was going to be the first time that it was taking place outside of Kona. It was going to be in St. George. And so I just was so determined I was gonna do it, even though I was a wreck. And found out later, I tried to avoid belief, I guess it was denial, but I ended up having to have 2 surgeries. My hands were the thing that took the brunt of it, my back and my hands. But I had people, though I was still determined I was going to do the World Championships. Even if I didn't finish, I was going to go, and they were going to have to pull me off the course. And so I had everybody that I could think of that knew bikes, trying to find a bike for me, because I'm not a very big person either, so I needed a nice bike and a small bike, and I had them looking at the used market, and we found one, and I bought it, and then the reality came it wasn't going to happen. So I had my first surgery in March of 22, and then my second surgery just in October. And I am signed up to do an Ironman in August, but I'm struggling to come back. I'm struggling so much to come back. I have yet to be on a bike. With 6 months to go, can I learn to ride a bike again? Not only physically, but emotionally. I stop jumping if I see a car in my peripheral vision when I'm walking, but so those kind of things you have to sort of overcome. But anyway, so that's kind of my story. So don't ever think that you're too old or it's too late to challenge yourself and to do something, because we all have an inner athlete. We just have to sometimes dig it out, I guess. And again, this will be, I promise, in closing. I always said it's not about running the marathon. It's about achieving the goal. And I know for me, after I did my first marathon, I just always knew that I can't do that. They're not words that are ever going to come out of my mouth, because we all can do anything that we set our minds to do. We have the desire and the passion to do. We just go for it.
Your time, okay? We're gonna start with questions and answers, okay? And if you are here, you want people to ask you questions. So now's your time, okay? Don't be shy. Press your hand. I can start, okay? Did you surf last week or this week when it was like stormy, windy, and all that? Yes. Yeah. Oh my. So nothing stuff here. So true. Nothing. Shark.
I don't recommend surfing in the dirty water, but we usually make it very quick, like today and yesterday. It's pretty in and out, but yeah.
Good. Okay, I'm gonna put Kavi on the spot because she's gonna be one of our next speakers. So she can.
Do you make yourself want to just
there you
got it pick one way before you get off?
Yeah. Like I had a 3-wave rule in the beginning, and then like after some injuries, and just I've gone down to one will do it. Like if it's a really hard day, or if I'm feeling sick, or one will cut it.
Do you ever have to go in the, you must have to go in the dark either before or after in the evening? How do you deal with that?
There was one time where I was actually coming back from Lake Michigan, and there was a couple days out there where I was able to find a board and circle, and there were actually like waves too. It was really cool. But on the last day, I couldn't find a board or anything, and took kind of a kayak out and just didn't really feel like it counted. So landed at about 10:30 and then got to the water at like 11:30 and got a couple waves. Thank goodness it was small and not scary. So
That's awesome. I have to say, Tom and I were asleep and we heard her coming in. The door opening, going,
I gotta go.
I gotta go! And it was 11:30. And I'm going, oh, good, she's got it.
Well, but I love the support. From the moment you push her when she had her shoulder injured, right? And support her coming back and not even say hi to you and leave again.
They just listen.
Okay, all right. So what about you, Lisa? Lisa wants to start open water swimming this summer. Lisa, right there, she looks like yes, so I think you're inspired.
I'll just stand up. Like many of you, my children went through the junior guards program. And in fact, Dorian, who's shooting this today, my son Daniel and his son Danny went through it together, and they competed in South Africa. So despite having these children who were very accomplished in the water, I couldn't swim across the lake of the pool. So I go to the Bay Club in Redondo, and in the locker room where all the business happens, I was just struck by how friendly everybody was. And I happened to mention to one of my next door locker friends, I wanted to learn how to swim. And she's like, oh, well, you've got to do it. And all of a sudden, a crowd of people descended on me, telling me to learn how to swim. And one of them was me, who I've known now for years because she coached my children on their various swim teams. So, January, I was at the Bay Club, and it was cold when I was doing this. I did a spin class in the morning, and I just went up to the manager, and I saw swim lessons were starting. And I said, hey, can you answer some questions about swim lessons? And she said, oh, ask the instructor, a woman named Marlena. So I talked to her, and she said, well, a lesson starts in an hour. Go home, get your suits, and come back. Well, I had no suits. I didn't have goggles. So I went in my daughter's drawer and got out her old swim team suits, like way too small, but I threw a rash guard on. It covers all sins. And since then, since the beginning of January this year, I've been taking my swimming lessons. According to Marlena, I've improved 1,000%. I'm still not breathing on my side, but anyway, I'm loving it. And then I mentioned this to Romy, and she said, well, I'll see you in the ocean this summer. And I'm like, all right then. And then when I saw her earlier this week, she was telling me about, she said, well, there's something going on Saturday. I said, I'm not ready for the ocean. She said, that's okay, just show up and meet all these people and be inspired. And each of the speakers, all of you, I'm like a nugget from each of you. So thank you so much for your time. I know a couple of you said, I'm not comfortable speaking in front of people. I obviously am. But you're all wonderful speakers, and each one of them, I understand that. I know where they're coming from, so thank you.
Yeah.
And thank you for being an inspiration.
Yeah, no, thank you. Yes, Ben has a question. Yes?
What would you say is the favorite, your favorite Ironman that you have done? Gradually doing?
Chattanooga, no, let me think about that.
Favorite item.
Coeur d'Alene in Idaho, because it's just beautiful.
That's what you said.
It's brutal. One year I did it, they dubbed it Coeur de Flame, because it was 108 degrees, they should have had the race.
Wow.
The DNF rate, and they're pulling people off the course, it was ridiculous. It was oppressive, but it's gorgeous. But Chattanooga, beautiful. Absolutely.
What's the altitude?
Not much, but maybe 2,500 feet, 2,700, it's not so much. But the lake, you swimmers would love the lake. It's the cleanest, but you start looking at the water temperature in February and March, and the race is like in May, and the water temperature is 28. That's warm enough to do it. But it's pristine, it's just beautiful. If you've never been there, it's gorgeous.
Anyone else? Okay. So now it's my time to brag about it a little bit more, okay? Not only that I have my mentors right here, I have more over there on the entrance, okay? I have Lucia back there with Sally's mom, and Dorian, Sally's dad. Also, Danny went to South Africa and Australia, right? And those are kids that I know since like Sally, 5 years old, 5, right? And to see them helping me now, and who knows, maybe taking over, and now like speaking in front of you guys means a lot, okay? Then we have Jaime back there with Ingrid. Those are families. No. Come here. Ingrid back there. Everybody's trying to hide. Those are parents supporting, their swimmers, athletes, okay? This wouldn't be possible without the support. I just saw Romina and Luciano, okay? Dolores back there, Rosana. Okay, Rosana, Rachel, is Rachel here? Rachel left? Okay, so the board, we have, Ocean Fever has a board, of course, right? And it happened, we are all moms. And so we have Rachel was already today, she's the president. Every time we have something going on, we send her first. She's the good looking, she's like so pretty, right? So she was first. And then we have the vice president, Miles' mom, okay, Chris, she's the brain, she's the one who says, oh, we should do this and that, okay? And then we have Virginia, she's the secretary, she's the helicopter mom, she knows everything what's going on in the area. She knows what's going on at the school, she knows what is going on Ocean Fever. So if she's at camp, like watching, she's taking notes, sending me texts, so it's all good, right? And then we have Rosana, my friend Rosana here. She's in charge of making everything look pretty. Today she wasn't here, that's why everything was like last minute. And then there's me, I'm the kid. I'm the kid who has these ideas, and maybe that's the reason I relate with the youth, okay? And thank you so much, parents and kids, for believing on the program. This is going to be the 5th year, right? And I'm hoping to make more years.